You scroll through hundreds of job descriptions, but they all sound the same. You spend so much time on every application, but it doesn't seem to matter. You send off application after application, but never hear back. You thought the interview went so well, but it's a no. You jump through all the hoops. The news keeps saying how there are all these employers that are struggling to find people to hire. So why does finding a great job have to be so hard? It doesn't seem very logical or fair. It's not. The system is broken. It's not your fault. The process most people go through to get a job is awful. But here's the good news. The system isn't very smart. In fact, it's downright dumb. It can be beaten. How? Most prospective employers and employees today are using the same old tired strategies that have been around forever. It's like professional camouflage. Everybody just blends into the crowd. But you don't have to be that way anymore. You can get traction. You can stand out from the crowd to unleash your God-given potential, to help a world in need, to do work that matters, to earn what you and your family deserve. You can do this. You're meant to do this. There are bright things on the horizon for you. This is the way. Welcome to the workshop. Get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope. My name is Eric Woodard. I'm a high-performance career and leadership coach based out of Washington, D.C. And if you're here on this Tuesday, especially I want to salute all of you. There's so many of you who are here live. I really want to acknowledge you for taking the time out of your schedule. Your time's super valuable. Just for being here to take some time for yourself to maybe get a little bit more traction on this job search thing than you have been getting. And if you're somebody who's watching the replay, you are also very cool. Not quite as cool as the people who are here live, but also very cool, quite cool. So we're going to get started today. And I see so many of you. If you could put into the chat two things. One, where you're from, and two, how long you've been on the job search, because I want to know. And I see Sophie and Scott and Will and Douglas and Deanne. So glad you're here. So where you're from, how long you've been on the job search, and we're going to get started right now, because sometimes being on a job search, my friends, can feel like pounding sand. Douglas in New Hampshire and Sophie in Texas and Katja in Germany and Krista in New York and Alex in New York. Sometimes it can feel like waiting on a glacier. Brett in Elmira and Karen in New York City and Mame in Philly and Lisa in Massachusetts. Sometimes, Jacqueline in Yonkers, it can feel like wandering through the desert, right? Lynn in Belgium and Tom in Ohio and Alex in Brooklyn. Sometimes it can even feel like going into an arena. Kennedy in Delaware and Melissa in New York City. We got a lot of people, New York State people here, right? I see you there, Ayana in Louisiana, Kimberly in Michigan. Sometimes it can even feel like looking to abyss. Ruby in Orlando and Ken in Aurora. So what you're going to learn today, Anna in Key West, if you are unsure about the direction you want your career to go, I see you there, Daniel, 7 months, struggling with how to describe what you do, right? Chris says, I'm getting too pitchy. Well, Chris, I don't know about that. Hang on there, brother. We'll hang in there. Jeremy says, Massachusetts, Mercedes in Massachusetts, uncertain if your resume is any good, right? If you're wrestling with how to follow up after you apply, if you're tired of applying and hearing nothing back, I hear you there, Sophie. Yeah, job search needs a reboot. I hear you on that. If you're doing interviews that seem to go great and then you still get a big fat no, hi there, Cronty in New Jersey and David in Massachusetts. If you're trapped in a job that you don't like and you're not sure how you can escape, especially if you're losing hope, this workshop is for you. On the other hand, if you're super casual about your career, you're not willing to do a lot of work. Hey there, aloha, Deanne in Honolulu. If you're reluctant to take responsibility for the results you've been getting, if you're worried about getting pitched to, if you're just interested in finding a job to make money, hey there, Venlise in Seattle, Sherry in Houston. If you're stuck in your ways and sort of closed-minded about trying new things, if you're unwilling to be authentic, this workshop may not be for you, my friends. So what you're going to learn how to do today, how to get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope. I'm going to give you 4 strategies and 9 tactics that you can use to elevate your job search today so that you can do work that matters and, earn what you and your family deserve. So our agenda for today, I'm just going to tell you really briefly about who I am. Not a long time, but just because some of you know who I am and a lot of you are like, who the hell is this guy, right? So just going to tell you real briefly. Again, I'm going to offer you 4 strategies, 9 tactics. I do have an invitation for you at the end, right? Some of you have joined this call because you've had friends or family know about our program. We got a lot of people hired in August real damn fast, right? I know some of those people have referred people to this workshop. So if you already know you want to find out more about our program, you want to talk to us, 3 requirements to book a call. And we're going to talk about this later. So don't worry if you're like, I don't want to talk to these people. That's fine. 1, you're going to show up. You're not going to book a call and ghost us because that sucks. Don't do that. 2, you're at least open to the idea of investing in yourself so other people can pay you money for the work you do. And 3, you're ready to get started. So if that's you, we're going to drop the link in the chat right now. You can book a call, and that's the form right there. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. I don't have anything after this. And we even found a new thing where we can bring on people live. We've never done this before. So we're going to see how that disaster works. Hey there, Bruce in Port Richey. Okay, so who is this guy and why does he think he can help me find a job? Well, I don't know if I can help you find a job. That's part of the reason we want you to book a call so we can find out. I grew up overseas, came to the States when I was 17. Lovetta's already asking, how much does it cost? Hold your horses there, Lovetta. We'll get to that, I promise, right? Came to the States when I was 17. The call's free, just so you know, the call's free. Wound up coming to the States, wound up transferring college 7 times, right? Was really sort of disoriented, didn't know what I wanted to do. I see you there, Deanne. I wasn't in Hawaii. I was for a little bit, but I was on the island of Guam. I spent about 10,000 hours underwater as a scuba instructor, right? And that was pretty good, but my brain got a little bit spongy and I was like, you know, folks, I got to figure out this career thing. And I thought, what would be the most prestigious job I could have? And I said, well, that must be something like the White House. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote a letter to the White House. And I said, dear Mr. President, you should hire me. And it was like the worst cover letter ever written. And I was like, I'm never going to hear back from those guys. But about a month later, I was going past the Guam post office and they came out and they're like, Eric, you got a letter from the White House. So I opened it up. And it was really cool. It came in this cool White House envelope. I opened it up and it was an internship application. Now, I didn't know what the hell an internship was, but I was really good at filling out applications because I transferred college so many times. So I filled that out, sent it in, and I'm like, I am never hearing back about that thing, but at least I got to keep that cool envelope. But that got me thinking. I applied to some grad schools. I got into GW and I actually flew to Washington, D.C. To go to grad school. Was like dumpster diving for furniture and, you know, was sort of trying to figure it out and bought a pair of running shoes. I was out running past the White House one day and I said, you know, those White House bastards, they never even bothered to let me know about that internship thing. Like, what is up with that? So I found a payphone. I put in a quarter and I said, hey, what about that internship thing? And they're like, is this Eric from Guam? I'm like, yeah, but I'm in DC now. They're like, man, we've been trying to get in touch with you. You're supposed to start in the First Lady's office on Monday. So I bought a suit, bought some shoes, got a haircut, and I showed up. Now, look, folks, I know there's a lot of political craziness going on in our country right now. So if my politics don't match yours, please forgive me. This is going to tell you how old I am. This was back during the Clinton administration. I went to work for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She was a great boss, right? I wound up in the Clinton administration for a long time. I see you there, Nathaniel. 8 months for you in Connecticut. You hang in there, Nathaniel, right? She was a great boss. I wound up serving on her staff for a lot of the Clinton administration, followed her after the Clinton administration to the U.S. Senate, where there's a lot of New Yorkers here, right? We represented the great state of New York. And then I followed her to the State Department where I did a lot of UNESCO stuff. And then eventually I left Hillary Land and wound up as director of fellowships and internships at the Smithsonian Institution. And all during this time, I would see people run into the same issues with their career. People at all levels, early professionals, mid-career professionals, senior people, all different disciplines, all different organizations would run into these same things because there's nothing very linear or logical or fair about job hunting. The system is pretty broken. So now I do a lot of coaching. I've written a bunch of books. I have an outrageous number of certifications and degrees. It's all very impressive. I have glowing testimonials. And you guys don't care about any of that. Because what you care about is, can I help you? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out if we can get you hired fast. So 4 strategies. Here we go. Buckle up, folks. This is for the chat. What is a good resume about? Put it in the chat if you would, please. And I like to give away things to people that get the right answer, right? What's a good resume about? If you would, put it in the chat. Let's see if anybody gets it right today. What's a good resume about? Let us see. So Daniel says your story. Okay, Daniel, right? So Scott says your story. Those aren't horrible answers, but so Jay says value. Danielle says clear and concise. Being your authentic self. Not bad, Jennifer. I like the authenticity. Rose says relevance and personal branding. Narjit says why you are an exact fit for the company, the job you're applying for, your accomplishments, skills, says Brent, says recruiters don't read resumes, says Brent. It's just the ATS, right? Sounds like Brent knows some stuff. Nicole, I haven't seen the right answer yet. What you can do for the company. Sherry, it's close, but it's not exactly right. Traditionally, Chris says marketing your story. So I'm okay with your story, track record of success. I haven't seen the right answer. Manoj says it's about you. All right, guys, we're going to give this just a couple more seconds. I have not yet seen the right answer. A lot of people are talking about ATS. A lot of you are saying this is the answer. Adasha says selling yourself, how you can help the company, says Cheryl. Douglas says, why you? I'm seeing a lot of you, and that is incorrect. It's not about you. It's about them, my friends. It's about them. And if you get nothing else out of this workshop today, please get this. We want to be influential with another person or organization. The last thing we want to talk about is ourselves. Sandra, branding yourself. Nah, it's not branding yourself. It's talking about them, right? It's making them feel seen, heard, and understood. Okay. Did Nathaniel get it right? Now, did you say you or did you say how I can help them? I don't know, Nathaniel. We're going to give it to Nathaniel. So Nathaniel, I've got a course. It's called How to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Awesome. We're going to give that to Nathaniel Kahn. Nathaniel, we're going to take your word for it. Okay. We're going to make sure we send you that free course, Nathaniel, because I'm going to take your word for it, but it's about them, folks. A resume is about them. So many people start off their job search, right? Talking about me. Let me tell you how I can help you. And me. Let me talk more about me. Let me have that big paragraph at the beginning of my resume talking about them. Sophie says, she says the same thing. We're going to make sure we give that course to Sophie. Don't worry, guys. There's more giveaways coming. So a job seeker is not about you. It's about them. And if you think about it, it makes sense because employers are focused on themselves. So if you go in there and you're focused on yourself, it's a mismatch of thought polarity. And it's no wonder that we think about ourselves in a job search, because very often the first job search we ever ask him, it's not to sell your skills. Right? We're going to get to that, right? Very often the first job we ever did was out of school, and in school it is about us. It's our cubby, our desk, our worksheet, our diploma, our transcript. It's all about us. And yet when we move to the working world, it's about them, the customer, the constituent, the client, the shareholder. It's the mission. It's about them. Okay. So you're going to make your application about them. And when I say application, I'm talking resume, cover letter, follow-up, networking, interview. It's all about them. Tom M booked a call. Tom M, you're the first one to book a call. You know what? We're going to send the free LinkedIn course to Tom. Tom was the first one that booked a call. So Tom, we're going to send you that LinkedIn course too, just because I like people that take action. All right. Here we go. I got another giveaway, folks. Here we go. Let's say there's a shelf in a library, okay, and it's full of books, storybooks. On the front cover of those storybooks, okay, there are some words. What do we call the words on the front cover of those storybooks? Thanks to you. We've got Jessa and Chris helping us today. You guys are rocking and rolling, so thank you, Jessa and Chris, right? What do we call the words on the front cover of a storybook, right? What do we call those words? So Scott Jepson. Scott Jepson is the first one I see, right? I see Scott Jepson and I see Margie Lady. Those are the first two I saw. Yeah, a lot of you are getting it right. This is a title. Title. Everybody's saying title. You're right. Now, isn't it interesting that's the same term we use to label people in the workplace, which tells me that just like we'll put a label on the story of somebody's career, we'll do the same thing with a storybook. Okay, it's the same thing. Let me ask you this. I got another question for you. Book title. That's right, Melissa. What percent of human decision-making is emotional and what percent is logical? This is for the chat, right? What percent is emotional? What's logical? Is it 50-50, 60-40, 40-60? Okay. Just scheduled a call. Looking forward to it. Hey, Kimberly, we look forward to talking to you too. We look forward to talking to you, Kimberly. I see you there, Kimberly. Good job. Good job. Let's make sure we give Kimberly that LinkedIn course as well. Kimberly W. Nice work. Okay. So I see 80-20. Jennifer says 80. Jesse says 90. Roger says 75. Ooh, Michael says 99. I haven't seen the right. Mercedes Castromonte. You are going to get the free LinkedIn course because you got the right answer. Human decision-making is 100% emotional. It's 100% emotional. And we make these decisions very quickly. Like when you got on this webinar today, you made a very quick emotional decision about whether you like the sound of my voice, whether you like how my face looked, the color of my shirt, like all of it. And it was very quick. And now you're just kind of like taking in data to rationalize that emotional decision that you've already made. And this isn't unique to you. This is everybody who's a human, right? I don't know about dogs, but probably, I don't know, right? But like, it's emotional. Human decision-making is 100% emotional. And the reason that's so important is because stories are how we convey emotion, right? It's like Maya Angelou said, like people will remember how you make them feel. So you want to get away from trying to, we make data-driven decisions. No, you don't. Nobody does. Sophie, you booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Sophie, right? Nobody makes data-driven decisions, right? I mean, later it's influenced by data, but the original decision is emotional, 100% emotional. And so we want to tell stories because stories are how we evoke emotion in others. Okay. That's what people are going to remember. Our ability to remember like stories is like 40 million bits a second. And our ability to remember like facts is like 40 bits a second, right? It's orders of magnitude greater. Orders of magnitude. So Christopher says, as someone in data and analytics, this is not true. Sounds like Christopher's making a data-driven decision. So maybe there's an exception to the rule, right? But psychology would say otherwise, because the reason we know this is when somebody gets their limbic system damaged, their ability for emotion, they're fine, except they can't make a single decision. And that's the debilitating part. So 100% emotional. Paula E. booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Paula. So notice I'm about to tell a story. One time I was taking applications for a program, and Maggie wrote in, and Maggie talked about how the summer before she'd been in a terrible car accident and her arm had been severed. Wow, that's quite a story. So we brought Maggie into the program. The first day I'm thinking, well, we got to make sure we have accommodations for Maggie, right? She's this one-armed woman, right? And so she walks in the first day of the program, 2 arms. Now it was bandaged from where it had been partially severed and reattached, and Maggie was doing some physical therapy. But was I upset? Of course not. I was so happy Maggie had both her arms. And I remember that story to this day because of how it made me feel. Okay. All right. Here's another one for the chat. Here we go. Paula E. booked a call. Nice job, Paula E. All right. Let's make sure we're giving away the LinkedIn course to everybody that books a call today, guys. I usually don't do this, but we're going to do something new. So we're going to send that LinkedIn course to Paula. Okay. Who's this guy? What's this guy's name? I'll give you a hint. He lives in Idaho, right? I'll give you a hint. He lives in Idaho. And guys, if I'm missing your questions, Chris and Jessa are going to star them. So, because we're going to have time for Q&A at the end. So feel free to, thanks, Jessa. So Narjit Chanda, you got it right. This is Napoleon Dynamite, right? We're going to give it to Jeffrey Buzzhart too, because that's right, Napoleon Dynamite. So Jeffrey and Narjit, you guys are going to get the course. Now, those of you who aren't familiar with this fine piece of cinematic work, let me explain. Well, first of all, go watch it. I mean, come on, folks. We're trying to create a society here. And the setup is Napoleon. That's right, Mercedes. It's a fine film. Napoleon is a high school kid. He sort of beats to his own drum. And yeah, Scott, the call's free, right? He sort of beats to his own drum, and he finds himself on stage in front of the entire student body at his high school. And he's on the hook to do a performance. Now, he's managed to get a cassette tape up to the sound booth, and that's it. Otherwise, there's been no planning. He has not practiced this. The music starts to play, and all of a sudden, like Napoleon's got to do something. So Napoleon does this crazy damn dance. I mean, it is wild. He metaphorically opens the kimono. And when he's done, he's sort of panting and sweaty, and all of his classmates are like this. And then they burst into applause. And the reason it books, Sherry L., you booked a call, right? Look forward to talking to you, Sherry, and we're going to send you that course. The reason it works is because it's so authentic. Jamie Kern Lima, the founder of It Cosmetics, says, everybody's a good dancer if they commit fully. And she's right. And this brings us to strategy number 3, which is authenticity. Authenticity. I saw a lot of you earlier were like, well, what about the ATS? Everybody knows about the ATS. It's the algorithm. How's that been working, folks? How's that been going for you? I already know, and I'm so sorry. Douglas P., you booked a call. We look forward to talking to you. I hope that course serves you, right? Humans hire humans. Humans don't hire robots. Robots don't hire humans. And robots certainly don't hire robots. And I'm a fan of AI. I get it. And at the end of the day, humans hire humans. So an increasingly artificial and automated world, the opportunity for you, my job-seeking friends, is not to be less human, it's to be more human. And the good news for you is everybody else, perhaps some of you until now, hey, Nathaniel C., we look forward to talking to you, have been trying to be as automated as you can, or at least trying to trick algorithms and all that stuff. Stop doing that. It doesn't work. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop working to be proficient in Microsoft Office. Don't do that. It doesn't work. Humans hire humans. This is how my clients get hired real damn fast, because everybody else is out there talking about being, so we're going to get some data here. 98% of medium to large companies use ATS to review a resume. So I don't know that that's true, Brent. That's a, hey, Roseanne, we look forward to talking to you. And that's one of those knowing things. It's one of those data things that's out there. Yeah, companies use ATS, but it's a database, right? You talk to any recruiter and they're going to be like, yeah, we use it to like receive applications, but and there may be an initial screening point, but it's not the reason you're going to get hired is because a human sees your stuff. Deanne from Hawaii, right? Mahalo, Deanne. We look forward to talking to you. And you're going to get the course, Deanne, right? It's about, right, connecting with people. And if you can't do that by going through the regular talent acquisition channels, you circumvent it, my friends, right? All sorts of examples here. You want to have evidence that you're a human in your stuff. For example, one time I was talking to Nina and we were having a conversation about her resume. And I said, Nina, what do you like to do for fun? And Nina fesses up. She's sort of squirrely about it. She says, well, I have a pen collection. A pen collection. I'm like, that's super weird. And I'm like, we got to put that on your resume. She's like, what? So I argue with Nina for like 30 minutes. She finally puts it on there. I hear from Nina a month later. She went into the interview. They talked about pens for 30 minutes and then she got hired. This happens with my clients all the time. Last fall, as I guess it was about a year ago now, we had a lady from Vegas. She decided to put it at the bottom of her resume, 2 truths and a lie. Karen D booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Karen D. 2 truths and a lie. Brilliant, right? People, and she got 2 interviews from that and 2 offers. People are calling her in just to find out what the lie is because they're curious. They're bored. They're interested in finding people who are human, not impressive, right? Audrey D, you booked a call. We're getting a lot of people booking calls today. Okay. Authenticity is your superpower. Okay, let's move on to this next strategy, folks. Let's talk about Abe Lincoln. Right? Audrey, you're going to get that course too. So Jessa and Chris, make sure we're writing down everybody that books a call for the course because I'm in a generous mood today. Give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. No, okay. We're going to take care of you. Look forward to talking to you. Give me 6 hours to cut down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And this brings us to strategy number 4, which is systems. The results you're currently getting in your job search is not because you don't have the experience or you're too old or you're too young. It's none of that. It's because the results you're currently getting are perfectly attuned to your current system. And trust me, you have one. It could be that your system is 98% of jobs go through ATS. It could be that your system is, well, I know that people follow data. I don't know. You might be right. And what if you're not? I don't know. But the opportunity is to iterate your system, right? Now, look, there's not a one system that fits everybody, but there's some systems that we found tend to work better than others. Ross G booked a call. He's looking for a new system, right? The idea is that you don't want to work hard. You want to work smart and you want to iterate until you find the settings in your system that are going to help you get hired fast, right? It's not about you. It's not because you're lazy or you're procrastinating. It's not any of that. It's your system. And a lot of you, my friends, this is your current system. And I love you. And my heart goes out to you because you've been working your heart out with this system. And you've used every setting imaginable with this system. You got the sticky gear shift and the button and the, I mean, you've just been doing everything. You've tried every combination and you're wondering why you can't steer your job search to success. Here's the reason. This is the system that's available to you. There's all sorts of settings and knobs and buttons, and this is a metaphor, by the way, of course, that you don't even know about. So you can spend a lot of time going from this to this, a lot of time and money, or you could just like use the system, batteries included, and get this job thing handled. Okay. So how do you put this all to work? So guys, before I go into this, let's show somebody that decided to change their system. Let's, guys, we're going to show them the video of Angel because we've got time today. So Angel came to a workshop just like this, and she was worried about whether she could afford getting help and all that kind of stuff. And here's what she said. So we're going to do this, and then I'm going to talk about the 9 tactics, how you can put this all to work. But let's show them Angel first, please. In the time we've got left, I'm curious, especially if there's somebody we haven't heard from yet. They've had a win, a loss. Angel, I got to ask you, what do we know, if anything? What do we know?
I got the job. Yay!
Whoa!
The offer. I'm moving in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. And I know when we first met, you're like, oh, like, let's get something by your birthday. And my birthday is in 4 days. So I was able to do it. Yay!
And I just want to acknowledge you. Like, you dove in, you did it, you did the work.
Thank you.
Way to go.
It would not have been possible without like signing up for this program. Truly, I think it made the difference for me.
So good, Angel.
Yeah.
Really happy for you.
Yeah.
Super awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Right, Angel. Way to go, Angel. I love it. I could watch that video all day. So Todd M booked a call. We got Chris G booked a call, right? Like, really acknowledge you all. Michael T booked a call, right? Mercedes, like, booked a call. Stephen P booked a call. Really, guys, look forward to helping you explore what's possible for you, right? Hi, Will W. You booked a call too. We're going to get you handled. All right, so how do you put this all to work, guys? I'm going to talk more about this later. I've got a program. If you're interested in finding out more about how we help people get hired real damn fast, book a call like many of you are, and we can talk, we can explore it with you. And the other reason to book the call is you're just going to get a lot of great coaching, right? If the program's not right for you, that's fine, and we can just help you unpack what's been going on with your job search. So you get a great coaching call. Okay, 9 tactics. Here we go. Buckle up. We're going to go kind of quick. So now this is where I like to give the people watching the replay a hard time. I like to talk real fast. I talk like blah, 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 and they think because they probably got me on 2 times speed. Alex S booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, right? Sorry, people watching the replay. I just wanted to wake you up. Okay, this is for everybody. If you again, this is one of the things. If you get nothing out of this workshop, please get this. There's a lake, and in the middle of the lake, someone's drowning. Hi, I'm Deb R. We look forward to talking to you. In the middle of the lake, someone's drowning. Now they're surrounded by other people in little boats. So somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning and they're surrounded by other people in little boats. If that was a job search, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat if you would, please. So people in little boats surrounding somebody in the middle of the lake who's drowning, and the person drowning is all splashing around. Metaphorically, who's the person drowning if that was a job search? Let's see if anybody gets it right. So Jeffrey and Alex say me. I hear you guys. Kimberly says me. I hear you, Kimberly. Right? Eloy and Sophie. Yeah, I got you. Say me. Benoit Volson, first correct answer. We're going to send you that LinkedIn course, Benoit, because you're right. And let's also make sure we send it to, I saw a couple others. I saw Benoit, and let's make sure we send it to Scott DeVore, right? We're going to take care of Scott DeVore too, right? And let's give it to Jacqueline Young as well. Okay. You're right. It can feel like it's us, right? We got bills piling up and our family members are giving us a hard time. It can feel like we're drowning. And we're not. We're the ones in the boat. The employer's the one drowning. And the reason we know that is they've told us. They've put up a job description to say, help, I'm drowning. And a lot of us are behaving or thinking like we're the one drowning. We're not. You're not drowning. How could you be? You're on this webinar right now, right? Unless you're like one of my scuba people. Tom B booked a call. We look forward to taking care of you, Tom B. Right? So like, you're not drowning. And yet we have to be careful what we tell ourselves, because like Bruce Lee said, be careful what you tell yourself. Your body's listening. Like our brain literally doesn't know the difference. When we say I'm drowning, Thomas K booked a call, right? We don't know the difference. So they realize the better mindset is they'd be lucky to get you. And we want to get away from language like, here's why I'd be good for you. Some of you earlier said, hey, Maine, we look forward to talking to you. Some of you earlier said, hey, I want to sell myself. Don't do that. Selling's weird. We've gone over this historically. Selling people's weird. Buying people's even worse. Don't do that. Okay. So nobody wants to be sold. They want to be served. Okay. Right. People don't want to be sold. Allison S. We look forward to talking to you. So that's the first tactic, mindset. All right. Here's another one. Some of you have seen the show. Hey, Dora, we have a celebrity on here. Dora's a big deal. Guys, if you don't know Dora Vanurek, make sure you go to Dora's page and like her on LinkedIn, because she's a big deal. You're going to get lots of good job searching advice from Dora, right? I'm so honored you're here, Dora. It's amazing. Okay. So some of you have seen the show Deadliest Catch, right? Where there's these people. Hey, Crystal M booked a call. We look forward to talking to you. We're Deadliest Catch, right? There's these fishermen in Alaska. They go out and they put these big steel cages on the bottom of the ocean floor with a little bit of bait, trying to catch some crab. Now, here's what goes down. Bob the crab comes along. Chris K booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, right? Crab comes along and says, free lunch. So Bob comes in there, and then there's Cheryl and Sally. More and more people join. And eventually the bait's gone. But here's the interesting part. We'll put it in the chat. Hey, Jessa and Chris, if you could go back and get Dora's full name and put it in the chat, please. Brett S. booked a call. Brett S. booked a call. Thanks. I appreciate that. And let's give Scott, let's give Scott the LinkedIn course. But deadliest catch, right? So here's the interesting thing. There's more and more crabs trying to join and join and join. And eventually, right, like the bait's gone. When one of those crabs tries to leave, the interesting thing is the other crabs will pull them back in. They'll even pull off a crab arm, right? Thank you. There it is, guys, right? They'll even do a crab murder. It's horrible because crabs instinctively want to be with other crabs. And this brings us to tactic number 2, which is environment. Some of you are like, I'm having trouble in my job search because I'm lazy or, whatever. No. It's one, it's because you don't have a system. And 2, it's because your environment eats motivation for lunch twice on Sunday, right? Right. And I'm talking about all your environment, your emotional environment, your spiritual environment, your psychological environment, your intellectual environment, your social environment, all of it. Okay. It really matters. So you're going to want to get that dialed in. And most people don't even consider it. Sometimes when we work with clients and we help them make this change, it does the trick, right? And your environment doesn't even have to be living people. It can be an author that lived 100 years ago that you're currently reading, or the media you consume. It really, really matters. So you want to be intentional. You want to safeguard it. Some of you are familiar with the idea of reference groups, right? You're the average weight, income, education of the 5 people. Exactly. You're going to want to surround yourself with a community of people that are up to the stuff you're up to in terms of job seeking. Damien at V, he's looking for a good community. All right. Let's get trucking here. Next tactic number 3, vision. Some of you know the proverb, where there is no vision, the people perish. Sometimes I'll talk to job seekers and I'll be like, how much money do you want to make? And they'll be like, I don't know, anywhere between $50,000 and $150,000. I want to say like Thurston Howell III, for those of you who get the reference. So here I go. Well, Gilligan, I want to make between $50,000 and $150,000. I did that for the older people in the crowd, right? Yumang J booked a call, right? And we'd say, Thurston, like, that's great. And I don't know what the hell that means. Right? Sometimes I'll ask people, I'll say, hey, what do you want to do? And they'll be like, well, I don't know. I want to help people. And I'm like, that's really beautiful. And it's really effing vague, right? So you're going to want to have clarity. It's vital, because right now, if I say red, all of you are instantly more aware of the color red just because I put it in your brain. So we want to be intentional about the stories we're telling ourselves. And it's not whether the story is right or wrong. It's whether it's useful. If we're trying to make airplanes fly, cure COVID, yeah, we want guys in white lab coats, guys and ladies in white lab coats, right? Doing science, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to job seeking, it's all made up. Title, salaries, it's all story. So you're going to want to make sure you're telling yourself a story and you're giving yourself a vision that serves you. Race car drivers, when they drive 500 miles in a circle, there's a reason they don't look at the outer wall, because that's where the car will tend to go. And if you don't have a vision, you're just going to be going around in circles like those race car drivers. All right, guys, here's another one. If I went to the store and I bought this, what would I be buying? Put it in the chat, please. If I went to the store and I bought this, what would I be buying? Curious if anybody knows. What would I be buying? Let's see if anybody gets it right. I went to the store and I bought this thing. What would I be buying? Danielle says a drill. Jacqueline says a drill. Oh, Katja. No, Kevin Nickel right out of the gate gets it right? Golf clap for Kevin Nickel. It's a hole. I don't actually need this sitting around my house. What I need is the hole that it makes. And you know what? I see Jenny Kruger got it right too. Let's make sure we give the course to Jenny Kruger, right? Jessa and Chris are like, he's giving the course away to so many people today. This is good. So it's okay, guys, right? It's a hole. And actually, you know what? I don't even want the hole. What I really want is a place to put the hook. And actually, I don't even need a bunch of hooks coming out of my walls. I gash my arm open. What I actually want is a place to hang the photo. And actually, I don't even want that. What I really want is the feeling that I get when I look at the photo that's hanging on the hook that's in the hole that was made by the drill. And this brings us to our next tactic, which is giving them safety. Some of you have been real busy trying to optimize my resume for the ATS, or maybe you've been hiding your age. The graduation dates mysteriously disappear. Or maybe you've been buying into the narrative that somebody told you like, oh, any experience that's more than 15 years old, you want to put that off of there. You know who probably told that to you? Somebody that doesn't have much more than 15 years experience. Don't do any of that. Some of you are putting the executive summary at the top of your resume. Stop doing that. You don't want to do any of that because John S. booked a call. What you want to do is you want to give them safety. You want to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. Go clear about what they like, want, or need. You want to get clear on what keeps them up at night when they're going to bed looking at the ceiling. Hey, Ruby H. booked a call. Do you see how this is so much more sophisticated than that other stuff and the stuff you've been chasing your tail over? That's why I do this workshop, because there's a lot of really crummy advice out there and it doesn't work. This stuff does. Right? What keeps them up at night? How can you make them feel seen, heard, and understood? All right, tactic number 5. This is a copy of my resume. My resume is sort of like the kitchen sink. So, Mame, I started hiding my graduation date. I'm not even 50. Mame, that breaks my heart. Stop doing that. It's never the scandal. It's always the cover-up. There's only one reason they're going to hire us, and it's not our skills. It's not our experience. It's not who we know. We're going to talk about what it is here in a second. I don't want to give it away, okay? Here's a resume, paper. Now, look, resumes are the least good, bad way we've come up with to put our professional stuff. I think Da Vinci was the first one that came up with a resume or something like it, right? And we got to do one, right? And resumes are kind of stupid. It's a hoop we all jump through, and you don't want yours to look like everybody else's. Like those of you who've been following best practices, or maybe I'll use software like Teal, and stop doing that. You don't want your resume to look like everybody else's because people are going to believe what you show them more than what you tell them. Always, right? So you want to show them that you're somebody that's exceptional, different than the rest, excellent. And you don't do that by making your resume look like everybody else's. You don't do that by being small. You don't do that by hiding your graduation dates and concealing your experience or worrying about the number of pages. Right? Remember, if the resumes, it's not the number of pages that matters, it's what's on those pages. And if those pages are about you, you can have a one-page resume and it'll be terrible, right? If the pages are about them, everything changes. Hi, Narjeet. We look forward to talking to you. Okay? So you want to communicate with employers in a way they cannot ignore every single time. It's one of the things we help people do in the Get Hired Fast program. So for instance, I've got hyperlinks in my resume, right? Again, it shows them some stuff. Are they going to click those things? I don't know, but do you have hyperlinks in yours? And notice I don't have that big paragraph at the top for a lot of reasons. That first of all, it would be all about me. Second of all, there'd be no context. And third of all, they're going to skip it. Any of you who've ever hired a living soul know that you're going to skip that stuff and you're going to go right to their experience. Mandy S. booked a call, right? Because that's you showing, hey, here's what I want you to say. And by the way, it's also you summarizing yourself. It's basically lazy recruiters being like, well, I don't want to read the whole resume. So by you giving them the summary, it gives them an excuse not to. Don't do any of that. Please, I'm begging you. Okay. Shakaris, we look forward to talking to you. Okay. If a job application is submitted and there is no follow-up, does it even make a sound? I would humbly suggest that it doesn't. And this brings us to the idea of follow-up. Some of you are applying to jobs and you send in the application and you're like, well, I hope I hear back on that one. I don't know if you have the annoying accent, so I apologize, right, for the accent, but you're saying something like that. Or you might be like, I'd follow up, but I don't have any contact info. You're going to want to follow up, right? Because you can say, I have initiative and I know how to take risks and I'm willing to offend people in the name of service. And yet you don't hear anything, right? So you're going to want to follow. And some people are really like, well, I'm really pushy. Right. So Ross, we're going to take care of you, Ross. Ross says, I'm trying to find the people and I can't do it. Right. I can't find the people. Okay. So here's what we're going to do, because everybody needs to thank Ross. 3 steps. 1, you're going to go to my LinkedIn profile. Okay. We're going to put it in the chat right now. You're going to go to my LinkedIn profile. You're going to hit follow. You're going to follow me. You're then going to send me a message on LinkedIn. The password today is chicken. Okay. So not here. You're going to do this on LinkedIn. You're going to go to my LinkedIn profile. You're going to hit follow and you're going to send me the word chicken. And I'm going to send you a free course. It's called How to Contact Anybody. So this way, Ross and everybody else will never be able to not find anybody ever again. Now, is it 100%? It's pretty damn close, right? There's a lot of tricks for finding people. And by the way, you don't want to find the recruiter because they're like a professionally trained ninja to keep you separate from the hiring manager. Because if the recruiter's not involved, then, well, now we don't really have a job, do we? Right? I'm talking about the recruiter, right? So you want to find the hiring manager And the last thing you want to do when you follow up is say, hey, I just applied. I'm really passionate. I'd be really good for you. Because that's all about me. You want to make it about them. You want to make that poor person who's desperate to hire somebody feel seen, heard, and understood, so that they knock on the back door. Hey, Kimberly, they knock on the back door and they're like, hey, HR, I want to talk to Ross. I want to talk to Kimberly. I want to talk to Michelle T, who just booked a call. This one. And you know what can even happen? Even if they've already sent you a rejection letter, all of a sudden you'll magically get the welcome to the interview. This actually happened. We have an example. Guys, we're going to play Andrew right now. So look what, and we'll give people time to do the thing on LinkedIn, right? So go to my profile, follow me, and then you're going to send me a message with the word chicken. While people are doing that, let's play Andrew right now, please.
I got a job offer thanks to Win at Work. I really appreciate all the help and materials and one-on-one coaching. I applied cold to an organization I was interested in and received the automated response, we're pursuing other candidates. And then there was another posting for the same role or similar role in the same organization. And this time I really used a lot of the Win at Work process. I also really appreciate the coaching I received on interview prep from my coach, Patrick, and the Win at Work materials on interview prep. I feel like I really impressed the HR recruiter. She scheduled me for another interview with program directors a couple days later. They were also really impressed and said I had a lot of good answers, and I really just did what I learned in this program. Make it about them, talk about them, be authentic, and now I have my new job offer.
Andrew's working there now. Hey, Shashri, we look forward to talking to you. So you're going to want to follow up, right? We want to be willing to offend in the name of service. You're going to show, not tell them. All right. So that's my LinkedIn, folks. If you haven't done this already, go to my LinkedIn profile, hit the follow button, send me the word chicken. Chicken. Chicken is the word of the day. Okay. So that's how it works, guys. Okay. So here we are. Next tactic. We're getting to the finish line here, guys. Then we're going to take some questions. I promise. You ever seen the Academy Awards, right? I know we just had an award show recently where the big actor gets up there and they win a big prize and they're like, well, I got nobody to thank. And people, the movie stars are like this. No, right? She gets up there, she wins the prize. People are cheering. Brent D just booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Brent. Like she gets up there, like they're trying to drag her off stage because she's saying, I got to thank this person and this person, this person, which brings us to the idea of networking. Some of you are hiding some of you are like wringing your hands. Should I put the open to work profile? It might make me look needy. You're not needy. You want a job. And there's probably legions of people out there that if they only knew that Brent was available or Michelle T was available or any of you were available or Deanne was available, Ross was available, that they would be like, oh my God, if only we could get Ross or any of the other people on here. Right? A lot of people think it makes us look weak to ask for help. Nah, Benjamin Franklin taught us it makes us look strong, right? It makes us look strong. Yeah, there you go, Mame. Good job. She added the open to work frame on her thing last night. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? It'd be like trying to sell cookies and like not putting out the sign like cookies for sale. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Right? It makes you look strong, not weak. And remember, Brene Brown's taught us, right, that vulnerability equals trust. And you know how earlier I was saying there's one reason they're going to hire you? This is it. They trust you. That's it. It's about trust. It's not because you're too old. It's not because you don't have the right experience. Every time we don't get hired, it's because people don't trust us. There's some people on this call right now and they don't trust me, so they're not booking a call. But that's not Justin K, right? Right? It's okay. And it's not personal. It's just like, or maybe they don't trust themselves. Right? It could be that. This is all about trust only every time. Okay. And again, you want to network in a way where you have a system, right? A lot of people are doing one-offs, right? They're like, well, I emailed that person 3 months ago, right? And they haven't heard. No, you want a system, right? We don't want to like treat this like we're fishing with a fishing line, right? Where we get the bait on one fish in one place at one time at one depth. I mean, I guess, but that's a lot of work and it could take a long time. We want to filter the ocean and you want to have a system for that. It's one of the things we help clients do, helps them get hired real damn fast. All right, guys, we're in the final stretch of your interviews. Here it is. Who wants the best interview advice in the world? Here it goes. I'm about to deliver the advice. Please prepare yourselves. Don't answer their questions. If you've been trying to answer their questions and focusing on the questions, stop doing that. because they're really only asking you one question. And that question is, can we trust you? That's it. If we had a universal translator, if this was a universal translator, right? And I was in an interview and I'd be like, well, tell me about a time you had a successful thing in your job. It would go, mah, 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 and be like, can I trust you? Right? Like, tell me about yourself. Mah, mah, mah. Can I trust you? Hi, Jenny K. Right? Look, you booked a call. We look forward to talking. So that's really the only question they're asking. Can we trust you? So rather than answering some banal question about God knows what that they just came up with, because they're really just trying to get you to make mouth noise so that they can judge your mouth noise, right? That's really all they're doing. You might as well give answers and tell stories that are going to help strengthen trust. That's it. That's the whole ball game, right? Can calendar go out into October? Yeah, Jesse. Well, we'll make sure you message us on LinkedIn, and we'll get you handled. Jesse, you booked a call. Good job. Okay. Don't answer their questions, right? Remember, you're going to want to tell stories and give them answers that are going to help build trust, because they really don't care about the questions. The only question they're really asking is, can we trust you? All right, guys, final tactic, and then we're going to get some Q&A. Offers. 2 things with offers. 1, a lot of times I'll work with people and I'll be like, well, how much have you been applying? They'll be like, well, Eric, not so much. I'm really deliberate about where I apply. And I'm like, why on earth would that be? Well, hey, Monica L., you booked a call. We look forward to talking to you. Because if they're like, well, if I get the job, then I have to accept it. And then I got to move the family to Connecticut and default negative future. No. Realize 2 things. 1, you don't have to worry if you're qualified for a job in order to apply for it. They'll have an opinion. Right? And even if you have an opinion, it's probably not accurate. You might think you're not qualified and you are, and vice versa. So trust their opinion. Their opinion is the one that matters on this. And 2, you don't have to worry if you want a job unless and until you get the offer, because unless and until that happens, you don't know what you're saying I want or I don't want. So wait until you get the offer. If they come to you and they say, well, would you take this job for $1? You say, that's possible. I'd have to see the offer. Easy, right? Less judgment, more curiosity. Right? So you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You want to apply liberally from a place of service. Okay? It changes everything. All right, guys. You guys have been such a great crowd. Write this down. 4 strategies, 9 tactics. This is how you get hired fast. And the reason I can say this with some authority, other than the fact that I have all those fancy credentials and I can raise my eyebrow like this, is we've helped a lot of people get hired doing exactly this. Like, I think last month we got like 10 people hired. It was crazy. And it was August. It's not supposed to happen. It did, right? Who knows? Okay. You'll know. So it's possible you woke up this morning in your job search and you're like, you know what? I hope today's different, because every day has sort of been the same, right? I wake up every day and, maybe something will be different. I invite you to consider that maybe this is the thing you've been waiting for. Maybe this is the different thing, because probably Theo R. booked a call. This is not stuff you've heard before. It's not best practices. Exactly. This isn't stuff you can Google. This is stuff that I came up with on my own through my long career, right? Working with a lot of different people, and it works. Okay. So again, I've got a program, comes with a lot of one-on-one coaching, and there's group coaching, and there's an online community, and we have workshops 4 days a week. It's amazing. And I'm not going to tell you about the features and benefits, because you don't care about that. Because what you're worried about is, can it help me? Yeah, if you've been stuck on the job search, probably. And so we have receipts, right? We have receipts, right? So here's just some of our clients. Jessie was a nonprofit executive. She was actually in a job and she was interested in finding another job. And I think it took her about 2.5 months. This was end of last year. She got a couple of offers, and that she kept getting offers she didn't want. And then she got the one she did. Robert was a guy who was actually living overseas at the time. And he was coming back to the States and was like, I don't want my job search to take 4 or 5 months. He signed up with a program, got hired that summer, right? Like about 2 months in. Wayne was a guy who got a ton of offers with us before he finally took one. Amy was one of these people who had kept going to interviews, and she got right to the end. It was like the runner up, and then she'd get the big fat no, right? She started working with us. That all changed. She's in a job right now she really loves, right? John was a CEO who was working on finding fractional opportunities. And now he's in, like, I don't know, he's some big muckety muck somewhere, right? We got him hired. Philip was an early professional. We got him 2 offers at once. You already met Angel, right? Angel got hired real damn fast. Hey, Rose, we look forward to talking to you. So some of you are like, well, this is all fine and good, and I want to think about it. And I just want you to know that a lot of times I hear from people who attended this workshop like 6 months ago. So like now I'm hearing from people that attended this in March. And they're like, Eric, I've been doing all the things. It's not working. And I'm like, show me. And they're talking about the drill, right? Or they're saying, here's how I can help you, company, instead of saying, here's what's possible for you. It's those little distinctions that make all the difference. Or I'd be saying like, how many people in your network know that you're on the job hunt? And you're like, a good number. Nah, right? You're just scared, right? So I would say if you could do this on your own, you would have. And a lot of people, like, they don't realize how much this is costing to keep doing the same results, doing the same thing over and over to get the same results, right? If this is the annual salary you're trying to make, this is how much it's costing you per month. This is how much it's costing you per week. So look, folks, if we can get you hired a couple of weeks sooner, like, you more than pay for the program. And Linda D booked a call. Way to go, Linda D. And like I say, a lot of times this has been sort of lately, people have been like 3 or 4xing their investment in the program just in how we've helped them with salary negotiations. So comes with a lot of stuff. We help you with mindset, clarity. If you don't know what you want to do, like your LinkedIn page, if you know, you've got imposter syndrome, like we do all the inner stuff. We do all the resumes and cover letters and follow-ups and, you know, all the way through to interviews. And the guarantee we offer is we're going to get you hired in 3 months or less. And if we don't, we stay with you until you do, which means that we place 100% of people that join this program, right? Now, not everybody we invite to join this program, because if we don't think we can help you, we're not going to invite you to join the program. But if we think we can help you, book a call. Guys, a lot of you already have, right? And let's explore what's possible for you. And even if nothing comes from it, you get some good coaching. It's worth it for you. Some of you are worried about money. Okay. Like depending on like where you are in your job search, like different, like the price can vary, right? Depending on, and especially on how you pay for it. We've got multiple finance plans available. We've even got one right now, a new one where even if you're worried about your credit, like they approve stuff. It boils down to, I think it's like $173 a month or something. It's some crazy thing like that. And then you pay the rest when you get hired. Cause that's what a lot of people ask. They're like, hey, can I pay it after I get hired? I'm like, no, but you can damn near do that. Right. We want you to have some skin in the game. We place 100% of people who stick with the program, and we've got the receipts, guys. The question is not, does this work? It's whether you just want to get hired faster. You want to keep doing what you've been doing and getting the same results you've been getting. So Sophie, we look forward to talking to you. I know you booked a call. So 3 requirements to book this call. Now we're going to do some Q&A. One, you're going to show up. My team's not that big, guys. And we got a lot of people booking calls today. Please don't book a call and then not show up, right? I see you, well, I'm going to come to you, right? Please be at least open, right? You're wanting somebody to pay you real American dollars. Be open to spending a few real American dollars to get some help. And 3, you're ready to get hired now. And you would answer your question, like, it depends, right? Like, I don't want to get into the business of saying how much our program is for you, Awa, because I don't know that we can help you. The way to find out if we can and how much like your version of the program is going to cost is to go and book a call, right? Go and book a call. I will say that if you can get financing and you can afford like $200 a month, like you're going to be able to afford this program. So that's what I would say to that. Yeah. And you might get some free coaching. So that's the form to book a call. A lot of you already have. You know what? We may try this new thing today where I'm going to bring people live. Dora M booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Dora N. So I want to show you the full width of my gigantic head. It's sort of like a planet, right? Hi, Philip. Okay. So who's got a question? And if somebody would like to be brought forward live, Aaron D booked a call. Let me know and we'll try the new thing where I like bring you on stage and we'll get to see you and hear you. I've never actually done it before. I'm a little bit frightened to do it. But just putting questions in the chat is okay too. But if you'd like to come live, let me know and we'll try it with you. All right, guys, let's put some questions in the Q&A. And Jessa and Chris, you guys have been doing a great job today. Really appreciate your help. What is our first question for today? And I'm going to stay a little bit longer. Okay. I know we said top of the hour, but I don't have anything after this. So I'm going to stay a little longer. Sophie won. I know Sophie left us, but Sophie booked a call. I remember. Plus, you can have the same interview with 2 people at the same company. Those 2 people will have entirely different opinions on how. That's exactly right. So exactly. It's such a great point, Sophie. And the one thing that's universal is everybody likes to be seen, heard, and understood, right? Maslow taught us about this, right? Like everybody likes to be seen. So regardless of the personality, right? If we take that approach of building trust, it's going to work with everybody, regardless of their personality, right? Even the grumpy ones. Okay. Next question, please. How do you get to the human? So Kimberly, if you haven't already, you're going to want to make sure you go to my LinkedIn, follow me, put the word, email me the word chicken, and we're going to send you a course called How to Contact Anybody. We could have called it How to Contact Any Human. But we wanted to be inclusive for other species. So aliens and all the rest. Okay, great question, Kimberly. That's how you do it. All right. What else we got here, guys? Sophie, how do you open to work when you're still employed? Great question, Sophie. Hey, Simone. We look forward to talking to you, Simone T. So it's a great question. And sometimes there are politics involved, right? So if you're with a current employer, then it is hard to put up the open to work banner. There's other ways, right? Where you can, talk about building trust. James R. book to call. We look forward to talking to you, James. Talk about building trust, right? There's no better way to show you trust somebody than going in and saying, hey, this is eyes only for you. My current employer doesn't know I'm on the job hunt right now, and I need your help. Ooh, want to talk about it. Do you think that person will be like sort of casual and be like, yeah, they just trusted me with their whole life? Or do you think that person's going to take it seriously? Do you think it's going to strengthen trust or lower trust? Do you think that person's going to be more or less motivated to help? I have a thought on all of those things. Hope that serves, Sophie. Okay, next question. And again, if anybody wants to be live, let me know. How much experience do you have getting people hired? Oh, tons in the tech industry. More and more people are in tech. And, a lot of people ask me this question. Well, do you work with CEOs? Have you worked with ancient Babylonian cabinet makers? Have you worked with, and my experience is I can have a rocket science and an art historian that have a lot more in common with their job search than two rocket scientists. A lot of times people treat job searching as a macro thing. Well, it's the market. It's the market that's down. It's the industry that's saturated. In my experience, job searching is not a macro thing. It's a micro thing, and it's unique to every individual. So some people are like, well, we help these sorts of people. Well, the problem with that is those sorts of people are not a monolith. So that's what I'd say to that. But yeah, we help all kinds of people, Scott. Okay, let's see here. James R. book to call. Okay, let's see here. What really needs to be on our LinkedIn profile? So Kimberly, no one's going to get hired or not get hired because of their LinkedIn profile. And I actually know a hell of a lot about LinkedIn. Sometimes I think I know more about LinkedIn than LinkedIn. You want it just to build trust. So for example, if you look at my byline, and a lot of people don't do this, but those of you who've stayed a little later, have watched this far into the replay, I'm going to give you this tip. Catherine C., you booked a call, right? Oh, and Jay Allen's fine with booking a call live. Okay, let's make sure we give Jay Allen a chance. Jay, you're brave because I don't know if it's going to work. But like a great tip on LinkedIn is, the headline where people say, well, I do this and this and this and this and this. What if instead you make your byline about them? So Kimberly, I don't know exactly what industry you're in, but let's say it was tech, or let's say it was your product owner or something, right? What if your byline is, instead of saying, well, I'm a product owner who does all these amazing things, what if it instead was, you're looking for a product owner who can do all these amazing things? It's almost the same words. It just, instead of talking about me, I'm talking about them. And I like talking about Daniel A. All right, because Daniel A just booked a call. All right, who's next on here? Who's next? Ora. How can we improve my chances of landing a full-time remote job in other regions, given that my skill set, isn't in demand by my country of residence? So, Ora, what I would ask is what is in demand, right? And how can you help meet that demand? And, one time I was, I'll tell you a story, and I know we're at the top of the hour, so folks have to leave. Just know how much I love you. And Lisa C. booked a call, right? And just, I'm cheering for you. And if people want to stay longer, you are so welcome. You're so welcome. I really appreciate you being here. I got all kinds of time. Let's answer questions. So one time I was working with a client and they said, Eric, I want to be a graphic designer. I'm like, that's beautiful. I'm like, what's the issue? And they're like, well, Eric, you got to understand these companies that want graphic designers, they want 10 years of graphic design experience. I only have 2. I'm like, okay, well, they wanted 5 years of graphic experience. He's like, I only have 2. I'm like, well, what have you been doing the last 5 years? He said, well, the last 10 years I've been painting houses. I said, can I ask you about that? He's like, oh yeah. I say, painting houses, does that involve colors? Oh yes. Shapes? Yes. Textures? Yes. Design? Yes. I'm like, man, you don't have 2 years of graphic design experience. You've got 10. It's the story we choose to tell, because we could call it graphic design experience or we could call it painting. It's kind of the same thing depending on the story we tell about it. These are all labels. So, Ora, Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM development. You could call it that, or you could call it software development. You could call it collaborating with colleagues. There's probably about 1,000 things you could call it that are in demand right now. So hope that serves you. Okay, next question. Let's see here. I have so much fun with this. Can you explain the system strategy again? Yeah. So I could, And actually, Trevor Timbeck and Steve Chandler recently wrote a book about this. They're two of my coaches, right? So a lot of times it's really tempting to say, well, the reason I'm getting this result is because I'm lazy or I'm procrastinating or I don't have the right knowledge. It's basically, again, nothing against our psychologists in the room. I'm a big fan of therapy and psychology. There's a place for it. But in this, it's like, it's a story. Kevin N booked a call. We look forward to talking to you, Kevin N. Right? And so the opportunity is, instead of looking at like, you know, like how I'm feeling about it. So here's a perfect example. See, I'll tell a story. It illustrates it much better. There's a reason the grocery store opens on time, even when the people opening the grocery store don't feel like it, or maybe they broke their leg or something. Because there's a system behind it. There's a whole system behind the grocery store opening on time. So if Bob somehow is sick, then Sally opens it. And if Sally doesn't open it, then they call in the regional guy. But there's a system. Professionals tend to have systems. And so that's what you want to have in your job search. Now, we could have a system called open the grocery store at 1 a.m. That wouldn't be a very good system. Nobody would come, or very few drunk people might come, right? So we want to have a system called, we're going to open the grocery store at 5 a.m. and there's going to be fresh donuts. Now that's probably a more workable system. So that's kind of what I mean by systems. And it's the same thing in your job search. You've got a system, could be called, I'm trying to trick ATS and I'm hiding my age. And that's sort of like opening the grocery store at 1 a.m. So let's open the grocery store at 5 a.m. and serve fresh donuts. Amber M booked a call. All right. Hope that helps you, Patrick. Okay. What is next here? How am I different than other coaches? Well, I would argue, Alex, that everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. Nobody coaches people the way I do. Nobody in the world coaches people the way I do. So, nobody else has the perspective I do. And again, this isn't about me, right? It's about you, Alex. So rather than ask the question of how is this guy different than other coaches, you could ask yourself the question, what system am I going to adopt that's going to be different than the system I've been using to get the results I've been getting? That's the question I would counter with, Alex. Hope to talk to you, man. All right, next question. You're so welcome, Patrick. Okay, Scott says, how much experience do you have helping senior EdTech regional sales manager? So Chandra Yaskar, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. You booked a call. We look forward to talking to you. Make sure you're going to show up, right? Ready to get hired fast, Chandra Yaskar. Hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. So a lot of people in EdTech, right? A lot of people in sales. Have I ever helped a senior EdTech regional sales manager? I want to say yes, right? I've definitely helped people in EdTech, definitely sales managers, definitely regional, all of that stuff. I'm actually a doctor of education, believe it or not. So I'm a big fan of education. And this isn't about me. It's about you, Scott. So yes, we've helped people like that. And there's nothing particularly unique around senior EdTech regional sales managers other than that's just the label that somebody's put on them, right? I would argue. Okay, next question. Hey, Chandra, sorry, you booked a call. We saw that. Okay. Mame. Hi, Mame, right? Mame, who was worried about putting up her open to work banner. What are your thoughts on using LinkedIn Premium to get more exposure? I start posting more and get more views, but does it really work? So the thing about LinkedIn is LinkedIn's actually a great platform. I'm a huge fan. And hey, Alejandro, we look forward to talking to you. The real power of LinkedIn, especially something like LinkedIn Sales Manager, is you can message anybody. Like you can message anybody. Did you notice how you found your way here? Right? You can message anybody. And so the great power is you can message anybody. That's one of the ways to contact people if you can't find their email, although that course we teach you how to find their email. And when you reach out to them, the last thing you're going to want to do is say, hey, I'm Maine. Let me tell you all about Maine. You're going to want to talk about them, right? You're going to want to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. That's what LinkedIn is really good for, right? And you actually have a profile that tells you all about them. How amazing is that? All right, guys, we're going to take a few more questions. All right, we want to try and get somebody live here. I know we had a few people. Jessa and Jelly, if we've got somebody who wants to come in live, we want to give that a try. How about the strategy of your personal self? Are you good at that? Yeah, I really hear you, Jacqueline, because, sometimes people are like, well, I've got my work self and my personal self. That was sort of big in the 90s. And then sort of, especially post-COVID, we realized that people are one person, right? It's not like we've got the work Jacqueline and the life Jacqueline. It's one Jacqueline. And so increasingly employers are realizing that if somebody's not doing great at home, they're not going to do great at work and vice versa. So the opportunity here, frankly, a lot of people that sign up for this program, they wind up signing on with me for longer and I charge them even more money. because they get results, and what they realize is the stuff they're going to learn in this program is going to strengthen them, not just in their job search, but it's going to strengthen them in their next job, so that what happened in their last job doesn't happen in their next one. So yeah. And I do more than career coaching. Elizabeth D booked a call. I coach people on all sorts of things. I don't know that there's anything I haven't coached somebody on. Terrifying. Anyway, appreciate the question, Jacqueline. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Scott, when you tell us to stop answering the questions, I'm not sure what you mean by that or what we're supposed to do. So but I want you to notice the word expecting. See, we want to get away from expectations. We want to get away from the shoulds. Expectations are toxic. What we want instead is to co-create agreements, as Steve Chandler taught us, right? Because what they expect is none of our business. What they think of us is none of our business, right? Let's say there was somebody, Scott, floating face down in the water, right? And we're like, they sort of look like they're drowning. We splashed them and we said, hey, buddy, you okay? And they didn't move. We wouldn't be like, well, they expect me to stay in the boat. No, we'd jump over the side. We'd flip them over. We'd start doing mouth to mouth. And if they were like, dude, I'm just snorkeling, we'd be like, my bad. Right? But like, this is about serving, not pleasing. Right? And so just because they ask us a question doesn't mean we're obliged to answer that particular question if there's another question that we believe would serve them more. Right? And truth be told, they're just probably asking questions because interviews are weird and they don't do a lot of them and they just got to say something. Sometimes they even put it on the piece of paper. You ever been to one of those interviews where they're just reading stuff? So don't be like your competition and buy into the misinterpretation of reality that you have to answer their questions. And let's even say they ask a question like, tell me about yourself. You're like, yeah, I'll tell you about myself. I'll tell you all about myself. Here's 3 things that really stand out about this position that you're trying to hire. 3 things that I notice. 1, 2, 3. Now let me tell you about where I've had all the successes doing that. And I'm leaving the space for them to connect the dots. Hope that serves you, Scott. Next question. Man, you guys are tough. You guys are like a hardy crowd. I got a lot of people hanging on here. Any advice for someone on a 3 to 4 year gap due to, caretaking, family building? Yeah, that's a worthy cause. Right out of grad school. So Takia, it sounds like you might be buying into the story that taking a break to take care of probably the most important people in your life is a problem. That's an interesting story. And I say that with a lot of love, Takia. I don't know if that's true, right? I hope your family's okay and healthy and happy. But like, that's the most human thing. So when they're asking about the gap, they don't really care about the gap. They don't care that you took care of your sick parent or you had a baby. They don't really care. What they're really asking is, hey, can we trust you? Right? You've been out of it for a little bit. Are you still sharp? And so rather than saying, well, I'm really sorry. I apologize. We had kids. They're the most important thing. My wife and I have 4 kids. They're the most important thing to me ever. They're more important than this job ever would be. And I had to take care of my sick parent and I'll never give up that time. And I'm sorry. You don't want to say that. You'd be like, yeah, I had some family stuff I took care of. And the good news for you is this job happens to be open right when I've come back into the market. So let's talk about what's possible for you. They'll be like, okay, that sounds like a leader. Hope that serves. All right, guys, next question. Hi, Lina, you booked a call. David says, I have 20 years federal civil service. I hear you. Received a RIF. Yeah, that sucks, David. Yeah, I'm here in DC. So I really feel you on that. Senior EO, okay. Accommodation. What's the best way to translate federal service to private sector? Yeah, I help people. I've been working with a lot of people that got doged. Do you have experience with this? Yeah, a ton. A Bass Pro Shop. Yeah, I followed up with no response going 3 weeks out. So I'm sorry that happened, David. And look, I worked in the federal government for a long time. Federal government workers are awesome, generally. They're awesome. You guys are, talk about badass. 20 years in the federal government. Like, I don't know if where you were. I don't know if you were in DC or somewhere else, but it doesn't matter. Like federal workers, man, they do not mess around. So you could tell yourself the story that like it's somehow a problem or a deficit, or you could talk about them and then tell stories from your federal service where you did things that were very close to them. And it's an asset, not any sort of thing that's going to be hard to translate, I would argue, David. Yeah, we can help you with that. Just so you know, I've helped a lot of people, helped people from energy and interior. I helped a ton of USAID people. Yeah, I don't know what department you were with, but we could get that handled. All right, guys, we're going to take just a couple more questions. Melissa, building on the topic now, forget their expectations. I'm into that. What do you actually say? How do we avoid their question? Well, you don't avoid their question. You can, so let's say Melissa asked me the question, well, what's your greatest weakness? But no, let's pick a different one. Let's pick, why are you the best person for this job? So I would answer the question. I'd be like, let's make this more real life. Eric, why are you the best coach for me? Here would be my answer. I have no effing idea if I'm the best coach for you. How could I know that? I don't know. I haven't met you other than I know that you come to this workshop, and I don't know the challenges you're dealing with, and helped a whole ton of people get hired. Am I the best person? I don't know, but you're here at this workshop. Sounds like you're trying to get hired fast. Sounds like you've stayed 11 minutes past when it was supposed to be done. Sounds like you're committed. I don't know. Let's see what's possible. So that's how I would answer a question, right? I'm not really avoiding the question. I'm just choosing to answer it in a way that's more powerful, that doesn't buy into the premise of their question, right? Why are you the best person in the job? I have no idea if I'm the best person for this job. So see, I'm replacing the question with another question. And the other question I'm replacing with is, here's what I do know about you, or here's what stands out about you, so I can take the eye out of it completely. All right, guys, one more question. I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have been such a great crowd. Audrey, I've had a hard time answering the question. Tell me about yourself. Okay, it's kind of what we were just talking about. I'm not sure what to say, and I've been telling them what attracts me to the position. So that's beautiful, Audrey, and it's all about Audrey. So when they say, tell me about yourself, you're like, yeah, I'll tell you about myself. So Audrey, so let's pretend you just asked me that question. And so Audrey says, hey, tell me about yourself. Well, I'd be like, Audrey, I'll tell you all about myself. So coached a lot of people, done a lot of these workshops, and there's some people that hang to the end and ask really good questions. Sure seems like you're one of them. It sounds like you've been on some interviews where they've asked you the question, tell me about yourself, and that's been challenging. Sounds like you must be doing something right because you're getting interviews. Like, I don't know you at all, Audrey. And the fact that you're here at this workshop and you stayed so long suggests you're a really serious job seeker. Just want to acknowledge you all. So see what I did there, Audrey? I'm talking about you, even though the question was, tell me about myself. All right, guys, look, I really acknowledge all of you. Appreciate you being here. If you're looking for help with this job stuff and you're tired of doing it alone, just know you don't have to. There are bright things on the horizon for you. I know it's scary. I know we all have limiting beliefs, and I'm just out here cheering for you, my friends. Please know that this too shall pass. That the only question is really, you're so welcome, Dora, right? Hey, Tiffany, there's another celebrity we got right there. Tiffany, nice to see you, Coach Tiffany, right? Like the only question is like, how long is it going to take? Right? This is sort of like going to the gym. Like, you can work out on your own and get muscles eventually, or you can go and get a trainer and you're just going to get bigger muscles faster, right? That's the only mystery here. So cheering for you all. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. Take care, my friends.